Hey everybody, it's Stephanie with Festive Creations by Stephanie, where we inspire and mentor others as well as design beautiful things for your home. We're going to learn how to make this pull through mesh method using our Dollar Tree frame along with the other supplies. Let's get started. So, to begin with, of course, I'm going to remove our tag. You'll notice that there are 6 sections on our frame. We're going to take 10 pipe cleaners or chenille stems, depending on what you want to call them. And I'm going to get them lined up here. We're actually going to cut those in half. We need half that amount. So there are 6 sections. I typically do 4 poofs or pull through on each section. So 10 pipe cleaners should be enough. However, I do appreciate the fact that some people like to do a few more. We're going to be using our 21-inch mesh, and you'll notice that some meshes fray more than others, so you'll want to be mindful of that. If you have a raw edge, I always like to take and trim off any loose raveled. And we're just going to gather that up at the end about 2 inches from the edge. So once we get our gather made and trim up any stray fraying. This particular mesh is a poly jute with a metallic thread throughout it. We're just going to take our end that we gathered up and we're going to pull that through the 2 center wires on our frame. So there are 4 wires on the Dollar Tree frame. We're going to bring it up in between the 2 center ones and use our chenille stem to tie that directly to one of the wires. So once you get your chenille stem in there, you'll want to make sure everything's placed correctly, pulled through evenly, and then give your pipe cleaner or chenille stem a couple of really good tight twists right next to that wire. Sometimes I will take just like this pipe cleaner just for some extra stability and attach it to that cross wire on the frame. Key thing here is to make sure that you have a good tight grip on with your pipe cleaner. So now we're going to make sure our mesh is pretty side up. And you'll notice that the dome side of the wreath is facing upward. And we're going to simply run our hand down and squeeze about to the 10-inch mark. So at the 10-inch mark, I'm going to keep my grip on that and pull that up through those 2 center wires on our Dollar Tree frame. So we're just going to simply pull that up, and you'll notice how my hand is keeping my mark on where we measured that out. The size of the poofs are going to make a difference on your wreath base. I take my 6-inch pipe cleaner, the one that we cut in half, and I'm now attaching that where my hand was around those 2 center frames. So now we've added 2 pipe cleaners, and I can typically get 4 poofs in each section. I'll, at this point, go ahead and reach underneath of it and spread it out and give it a little more volume there. So, just remember that for this method, 21-inch mesh typically works best. And as long as you keep the poofs the same length, then when you get done, all of your poofs should be the same height. So you're just going to repeat this method. Pull through the 2 center wires on the frame. This method does take a little bit longer than any other method that I've used for mesh, so please be patient with it. Then we're going to take our pipe cleaner, run it underneath the mesh, around the two center wires. Give it a couple of good tight twists right next to that wire. And again, after each one, I go back and I kind of give it a little bit of extra TLC. So let's fast forward here just a little bit. Now, when I get to the end of each section, when I add my pipe cleaner, I do like to wrap it around the two center bars, the two center wires, and that cross bar. So that if anything were to loosen up for whatever reason, a pipe cleaner wasn't quite on there tight enough, then it still has that extra support around that cross wire and keeps it from shifting, um, and goes very smoothly if you have to do any repairs on future sections. So this is what the back of our frame looks like at this particular point. My beginning poof or pull through, sometimes you have to pull it through just a little bit more from behind, but by now you should start to see the fullness of the wreath starting to come through. So let's continue on. I do want to share with you when you get down to the last section, you're going to repeat the same process all the way through up until the last poof. And also, if I have not mentioned it already, this method, this pull through method, usually takes me about 30 minutes to do at a steady pace. So let's get to the very last pull through and show you how to finish your wreath. Now, as you can imagine, when you get down to the very last one, you have a small space to work with. So you're going to continue as you have up to this point, measure out your 10 inches, but sometimes I will just turn the wreath over because it's such a small space, and I will just push that through rather than do 100% pull through. So it's kind of like an effort from both sides. And as I said, it's a very small, tight space. It's one of the reasons that I do not recommend trying to put more than 4 pull throughs per section. I do use a pipe cleaner here to secure that to our frame. However, this is where that optional zip tie may come in. It may make you feel a little bit more comfortable and help you feel a little bit more secure if you add a zip tie there on the final pull through. So we're just adding some finishing touches. This is what our back looks like, and we've got 4 in each section. We can move our pipe cleaners around and spread that out evenly if they've shifted at all. And if all of our mesh is not pulled all the way through, you see how I'm just taking my fingers and pushing it through. And of course, we have some nice even poofs on that. So now we're going to take the end of our mesh right below where our pipe cleaner is, take our scissors and cut that off just about 2 inches from the end. That now is going to be secured to a frame or to the frame one more time. So if you wanted to use a zip tie here, again, optional, but I just kind of tuck it back off to the side. And of course, it's not visible from the front of the wreath. And of course, making sure that that is extremely secure right there. So let's take a look at our nice full plush wreath base. As you can see, there is no visible frame showing through. None of the mechanics are showing through. And a lot of that has to do with using the half-size pipe cleaners. The back is nice and smooth and clean for our customer. If you have, like right there at the very beginning where we started, I'm just taking a pipe cleaner and securing that just a little bit more so it's not sticking out away from the wreath frame. And of course, that's going to be a matter of personal choice for you. But again, this makes a nice full base and something different than the typical poof method or ruffle method. So I hope that you have learned a little bit today from our tutorial. As always, I love to see pictures of your finished designs, and we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel on YouTube or follow us on Facebook. Have a great day, everyone.